Snyder really needs to learn when to shut the fuck up. So, a few weeks ago, he made a bunch of stupid comments about Batman and how his no-killing rule in the comics is terrible because it's not edgy enough, I guess. That's all I understand out of Snyder, apparently, is because he's just an edgelord that likes people killing each other for the hell of it. And was rightfully made fun of by several comic book writers and artists of the like. And following that, while promoting Rebel Moon Part 2, which I'm dreading watching, he doubled down on his decision to have Superman kill Zod in Man of Steel, with the quote, "If Superman can't handle that position, then he's fake." Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. So let's just get into this. I'm not going to read a bunch of the setup to it. I'm just going to get right into it. Where did I have it? So, his defense for this was basically, here's the quote: "If Superman can't handle that position, then he's fake. Then he's not. You gotta, he's got to address the scenarios that come to him. He can't pick and choose as you can't pick and choose." He compares the choice to that infamous test in Star Trek Kirk rigged. When something is outside of your morality, your normal morality that you can deal with, it's like the Kobayashi Maru. I honestly don't know if I said that right. You know, it's like the idea that, he says like a lot in these quotes, holy crap. I'm just gonna skip over that. You know, it's like the idea that you're presented a scenario, a no-win scenario, and in the no-win scenario, how do you respond? And I think that if you can respond, if the character can respond in a way that solidifies his humanity, then he's stronger. None of this matches Man of Steel, by the way, because he never acts like a normal person. And especially doesn't help with Snyder's writing, always makes him out to be this big demigod among men, kind of like Hercules, I guess, where he's a big demigod hiding amongst mankind, and that's not what he was. The entire point is that he was raised as a human. One of the biggest misconceptions about Superman is that he's not a human being. He's not a human that becomes a god. He's instead a god. How do I put this? He puts it as that he's pretending to be amongst the humans by acting like them, but he acts weak and... you get my... If you've seen the movie, you know the quote. I don't remember the quote. But that is such a bad misconception of Superman because he was raised as a human. He had no idea about his heritage or his powers until he got older. And rightfully, he's being clowned on. Now, let's look at some of these comments. There's a long one right here that solidifies pretty much everything I just said. Again, demonstrating that Zack the Hack has zero clue what makes those characters so tremendously important and epic. He has zero clue about why precisely it is such a big deal for Superman to kill Zod in the comics. Yes, he did kill Zod, but only after Zod literally threatened an entire universe with the destruction, and only after years and years of Superman not killing anybody and following the code to the point where at times he nearly died. If you wanted to do a scene like this in a movie, you could do it after many movies where Superman doesn't kill and in fact nearly dies as a result. You have to portray Superman as he was always meant to be in the comics. Snyder, as usual, just skips that part because he can't comprehend characterization or character arts and goes right to the cool bits as he sees them. Even then, after many movies, you'd have to handle the scene with the utmost care and setup, so as to ensure that the character would be presented with this moment that helps define him properly. Indeed, in the comics, killing Zod affected Superman for years and years. Snyder just ignores that as well, having Supes pick himself up and not really care one way or the other after a tiny amount of time. Which is true, because basically, he does feel remorse for about 5 seconds, and then the very next shot is him blowing more shit up. Snyder deserves to be banished from making movies, quite frankly, as should be apparent after his Rebel Moon movie. Statements like this only prove the point that he's utterly incapable of making a decent movie unless someone is there to guide him. Now there's another one showing his quote, and then it has the quote from Yoda, "That is why you fail." Zack is shouting, "I don't understand Superman again. Wish he'd just go away." And then the reply is, "With more slop like Rebel Moon, you may get your wish." In a better written story, Superman would actually feel some remorse for taking a sentient life, wondering if there was another way, maybe vowing to never kill again. I could have gone with a story like that, but it'd require a mature writer who wasn't just trying to be edgy. You get the point. Snyder doesn't give a shit about character. He never has. He only cares about edgy spectacle. That's why I can't fucking stand his movies. Watchmen is terrible. His DC movies are awful. The Rebel Moon movies are god-awful. Army of the Dead was shit. I can't take this guy seriously as a filmmaker because he's not a filmmaker. He makes edgelord fan fiction. Honestly, I've seen fan fiction with more mature writing than what Snyder shits out in his DC movies. And apparently, from what I've seen, people are saying that he's trying to get Warner Brothers to sell his Snyderverse to Netflix, which proves to me he doesn't understand how movie rights work either. I already did an entire video that the Snyder fans were falling for that, but apparently Snyder was falling for it too. That he wants to make more of it, or he's also said that he wants to make more as animated movies. He will not shut the fuck up about wanting to finish his DC movies, despite nobody wanting him to finish his DC movies except for him. It's just going to be vanity projects, and they would be awful, and thank God they're never going to happen. I hope this motherfucker never gets work again. He wants to make 6 Rebel Moon movies. That sure shit ain't happening. These last 2 Rebel Moon movies were panned hard, and for good reason. Snyder is a hack, and he is a clown, and everybody knows it. So that's all I got, and I'll see you next time. Bye.